The Paranormal View. The Paranormal View. The Paranormal View. Time now for The Paranormal View. The Paranormal View on the Para-X Radio Network with your host, Henry Foister, Craig Rupp, and Jeffrey Gould. The Paranormal View.
Welcome, everybody, to the Paranormal View right here on the Para-X Radio Network. And I want to thank everybody for listening tonight, no matter where you're at, if it's here or from around the world. If you're not in here in the chat room with us at Para-X, please come on over, para-x.com. Click on the live chat button at the top of the page, and it'll put you in this chat room with all these wonderful people, and you can interact with the show. You can send private messages to Craig, Jeff, or myself with questions for our guest. And just a great time in the chat room being able to talk with all these wonderful people. I do want to a couple quick announcements, I guess. And I was going to do this and play a song, but I didn't get time to do that. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to have Craig do something. Are you ready, Craig?
Oh, man, Henry, you're good at this. Okay, go ahead.
I want you to lead us in Happy Birthday to Jeff.
Oh, God.
You don't want me to sing?
Nah, you don't have to. We're just going to wish Jeff a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jeff.
Yeah, you didn't know I was going to do that, did you?
Henry, I was scared.
I do want to let everybody know that you can visit our website at theparanormalview.com. You can listen to our podcast from there, and you can also see the bios on all our hosts and everything, except for Patty Lynham, who has not sent me her bio or her picture yet, and I hope she's listening.
She's in the chat room.
Yeah, I know. I'll get her. So do send that in to me so we can get that up there. And you can also, if you want to email us, you can do that at theparanormalviewfans@gmail.com. And we have some other sites, too, we're going to be giving out a little bit later that Jeff will give out to you, which is some great sites. And we're also on Facebook, and Jeff will also post all that for everybody, too. So, we have a great guest tonight, and we're all excited about having her on because she's a very, very nice lady, and we should be able to ask a question and let her talk for about an hour. So things should go real easy, and I've got Craig, who is going to take and introduce her. How's that sound? Go ahead, Craig.
That sounds good. And
all
if
right.
I butcher up some of these words, I apologize because there's some big words, as you all know. With us tonight, we have Edy Nathan from A&E's Psychic Kids. Edy is a licensed therapist with over 15 years of experience specializing in the integration of psychotherapy with the world of spirituality in order to help people deal with their grief, phobias, anger, and relationships. Her formal training is from New York University and Fordham University with postgraduate training at the Ackerman Institution for Family Therapy, the Gestalt Center, and the 𝘒𝘪𝘥𝘴, I know I messed that up, Institute. Her studies have introduced her to many points of view about the afterlife, which are tempered by her academic teachings. She is dedicated to helping psychic children and their families learn how to overcome the fears that are holding them back from their full potential. Edy also has a private practice in Manhattan. Welcome, Edy Nathan, to the Paranormal View.
Thank you. It's so great to be with you guys. Thanks for having me.
You're very
You're very
welcome.
welcome.
We're glad that you are spending a couple hours of your time with us tonight. And before we get into the questions and everything, we do have listeners tonight from the U.S., Australia, and the U.K. And I want to thank everybody from around the world for listening tonight. So we appreciate that.
And I want to thank the people in the UK for having such huge celebrations yesterday for my birthday.
Oh,
wait,
yes.
I may have been for something else. I don't know.
I was going to say that. They did that just for you.
Actually, my mother's birthday is May 30th. And back in when Henry and I were much younger, we remember when that was Memorial Day. It didn't matter when it fell. It wasn't on a set Monday. It was May 30th. And when she was a child, she thought all the parades were for her birthday.
Edy, I guess I guess I should tell everybody, if you do have questions for Edy, private chat them to Jeff, Craig, or myself, and we'll get the questions right over to her. She is also in the chat room, so you can say hi to Edy in the chat room also. When did you first realize that you were psychic?
You know, I'm not on the show as a psychic. I'm on the show as a psychotherapist. And that doesn't mean that I don't use highly intuitive skills as a therapist. So I don't want to say that I'm psychic. What I would like to say is that I think we all have psychic abilities, and we all have the chance to build on those psychic abilities, depending on how free we are with our thoughts. You know, how if we stop ourselves and say, oh, I can't go there, I can't be psychic, then indeed we won't be. But our brains and our minds are when we open them up, allow us to perceive in ways that we might not perceive them if we didn't give our brains and our minds and our psyches that permission. So I don't want to say that I'm psychic as much as that I use my intuition, and that intuition enables me to work on a lot of different levels with people who, from kids to adults and families, who are in the psychic realm or are not necessarily dealing in the psychic realm, but feel that there are obstacles in their lives that they can't overcome.
Now, you work on the show Psychic Kids with A&E.
That's correct.
You have some other co-hosts, I guess is what they call them, with you.
I keep waiting for Chip to get his own show called Coffee, Tea, or Me. But
Coffee, Tea, or Me.
Yeah, he would love that, I'm sure. He would absolutely love that. And Chip Coffee is a psychic medium, and Chris Fleming, you know, is a psychic using a lot of paranormal gadgetry to really foster communication from the other side. And I try to keep a balance between that which I cannot define nor can I explain with kind of the science of the mind. And so I'm really right in the middle. And it's a really interesting, wonderful place to be, because I kind of see it from both sides. I can understand the argument from a scientific perspective of I want proof, and I can also understand the argument of, well, you know, how much proof do you need? You know, how many times does a door need to be knocked on and you open the door and no one is there before you start to say, what is going on here? You know, so I really try to foster that balance, because certainly there are people who, you know, might feel that they are psychic, but really are dealing with some severe emotional disorders. And then there are people who, unfortunately as well, have been diagnosed with emotional disorders, and really they are empaths, or they are seers, or they are so psychic and it's just being missed by the medical establishment. So, you know, I live in two worlds, if you will.
So, what is your purpose then on Psychic Kids? How do you, I mean, what do you do with kids?
Yeah, my purpose is really to help the kids learn to cope with the abilities that they have. Not necessarily to enhance the abilities, but to really help them to cope with the abilities that they have. Because, when kids, especially kids, grow into the world not knowing that what they are experiencing, no one else around them may be experiencing, and then when they find it out, my God, they can go into, kind of shock. It can be very scary. They can have traumas around sleeping. They can have difficulty in friendships. They want to talk about it, but if they talk about it, then they're ostracized or teased. Often families don't believe them, and they, sometimes are made to feel very alone, very, very sad. That's not for all psychic kids, certainly, but some of the kids who we have worked with have had to deal with a lot of issues. And my role on the show has really been to help them cope with those issues so that they can be even more open to their psyche and to their psychic process and to the wonders of the world of being a psychic or an empath. And not all psychics are the same. You guys know that, right?
That's right.
Right, correct.
So,
I have a question from.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I have a question from Yoga Girl in the chat room.
Hi,
she'd
Yoga
like to
Girl.
know. She'd like to know, Edy, how do you handle parents who are religious and don't believe their kids are psychic?
We actually had a couple of moms like that on the show, and you're not going to change them. But what's interesting is, and it was noted that even in the Bible, it talks about psychic and psychic abilities. And I can't, what we used to tell the parents is this: if your child has psychic abilities and you don't believe them, come from love. Love them for who they are. And if their psychic abilities disturb you, bother you, hurt you, then find the parts of your child that you can love, because all children need is love. They need to be loved. They need to be accepted. And if a child is dealing with a parent who doesn't believe, then if anything, the child, especially with the internet these days, can reach out and maybe find some other kids who are also psychic. It is a very tenuous situation, and it is so hard for these kids to have parents who don't believe them because of their religious, backgrounds. And the best advice I can give is, go onto Facebook and start to reach out to other psychic kids. Go to A&E's website and reach out to other psychic kids and see what advice they also give, because children giving advice to children, sometimes it's the most brilliant advice, and far more brilliant than we as adults can give.
Good. I have a question here from Cece from the chat room, Ceiling Cat.
Hi, Cece.
Her question is, how valid do you think the movie The Sixth Sense was, and how a child copes with the initial trauma of sight and realization that they're psychic?
Great question. I loved the movie Sixth Sense. I'm sure you guys saw it, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I had to see it
Oh, yeah.
I had to see it like 3 times because I was like, what is going on here? It was wonderfully done. And how realistic. I think the movie was accurate in a lot of ways in terms of, what that child was perceiving. He was also very lucky because he had a mother who eventually, and it didn't take very long, really got on board with him and said, we're gonna try to get you the help that you need, and didn't believe him, and the help that he got was the help that he needed, and it was through someone who was certainly dead, but he got that help, and so she reached out for help. And what's interesting is that we get help in different ways. We get help through our messengers, and our messengers don't always look the way we think they're going to look. And sometimes they're in a body, and sometimes they're not. And the messengers that come to us through spirit are no less valid than the messengers that come to us in body, because sometimes even in body, a messenger is getting a message through their own spirit guides. So I do believe it's valid. I think it was certainly well portrayed. However, I don't think that it ever works as seamlessly as it was depicted in the movie. And I don't know, and I don't have enough information on this to know whether a child actually sees a whole body of someone who has passed, or if they see fragments, or if they just get an aroma, or if they hear something, because certainly our abilities, one's abilities, go across the board sensorily, from the kinesthetic to the sight to the nose. The sense of smell is our strongest sense, and when we smell something, it is that smell that brings us back into memory the fastest of any of our senses. It is that sense of smell. So we might smell something and then have a memory that has nothing to do with this life, might have to do with the spirit that is around us. And so I hope I answered the question.
How did you get to be involved on the Psychic Kids?
That's where it's a very funny story, actually, because I'm really a pragmatist at heart. And I got an email. I had just put my picture on the Psychology Today site. Now, Psychology Today is a site where psychotherapists can go and post what they do, and people come and seek them out, and it's a way of building a practice. And I had been on Psychology Today forever and never had a picture up, and then I decided, I'm going to put a picture up. No sooner did I put a picture up than 3 weeks later I get an email from this person saying, "Hi, I'm from A&E, and we're doing this show, and we're looking for a therapist." And frankly, I thought that person was schizophrenic, and I was not going to respond to this. There was just no way. I am not responding. I'm not. No, there's just no way. So I didn't respond, and and then finally my husband said, "Oh, you know what, Edy, you should respond." So I called, and I went in, and I went for an interview, and literally 3 weeks, I went from being a psychotherapist in New York City with a very nice little practice to being on A&E Psychic Kids. And met Chip Coffey for the first time. All we had ever done was have a conversation on the phone, and the next thing I knew, I was filming next to him, and he was an amazing teacher and took me under his wing and showed me the ropes and helped me when I got nervous. And so it was a wonderful, wonderful entree into this wonderful show that is unfortunately not being renewed.
No.
Unfortunately not being renewed. But I had 2 wonderful, wonderful seasons on this show, and we're trying to figure out how to get it back or how to do something differently. But so that's how I got onto it. It was kind of a long story, but I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh yeah. Now,
how many seasons?
Absolutely.
It ran 4 or 5 seasons?
It ran, actually, believe it or not, it ran 3 seasons altogether. The first season, Lisa Miller was the therapist on the show, and the second and third seasons, I was the therapist on the show. But, the show has a lot of, rerun time and is aired, all times of night. And we're all very, very sad about the fact that A&E has chosen not to show it again and bring it back.
Now,
Well, at least it went for 2 seasons with you, so it's not like it ran 1 season. They're like, "Oh, this isn't working out. Get her," So at least it ran 2 seasons, so it wasn't you.
Yes, that's thank you for that. And I do I don't think it had anything to do with myself or with Chip or with Chris Fleming, or with any of the wonderful people who came on the show. I think it was an executive decision that makes absolutely no sense.
They do
and
that sometimes.
People make decisions out of fear, and it's really too bad sometimes when people make decisions out of fear.
Now, has being on that show helped your practice? It has, but not in the way that one might think. It's not as if I'm doing a lot of work, with psychic kids or psychic adults, but there's an energy that shifted, and as a result, my practice has grown exponentially, and it's been a really wild ride, and I've been in the process of finishing up a book about psychic children and how parents can learn to cope with a child who is psychic, because children who are psychic, have issues that the normal children will have. The psychic child might cope with these issues because they are magnified in that child's life. And the examples, I can give are that a psychic child has trouble often, like going to sleep at night because they're afraid of spirits in their room. And it's not like a boogeyman in the closet. It's much greater than that because they're sensing things, they're seeing things, they're kinesthetically feeling things. Often a child who is psychic won't shower alone, won't bathe alone, wants to leave the door open. And, when a child is emerging into their teens, it's so very, very difficult, to want to give them privacy. You know how important their privacy is. And they know as well in their minds how important that privacy is, and yet they're so overrun by their fear that they can't kind of grow into that maturational process that is so very important because they're overrun with their fear. So those are kind of the things that psychic kids deal with, and my book really talks parents through what children who are psychic kind of face.
Does the book have a title yet, or are you still working on that? Or
well, right now the working title is "You and Your Psychic Child," and there's nothing like it out there. If you go to Barnes and Noble, or you go to any of your favorite bookstore, whatever bookstore that might be, what is interesting is that there are a lot of books for adults. There's volumes for adults. There's like nothing for parents of children who are psychic, and there are no books for psychic children. Like, how do I know? What if I'm going crazy? What if I'm not? What if, all of the what ifs? I mean, imagine waking up in the middle of the night and you see an apparition, and it's not a little play friend that imaginary friend. That's not what it is. It's somebody telling you, their life story, or please come and help me, or you're in a constant state of perception. That's really scary, and there's nothing on the market to help you.
Actually, there seems to be one called Psychic Children by Joanne Brockes.
Okay, then thank you for that.
Well, I was seeing whether or not your thing was on Amazon yet. And oddly enough, I don't know if this is intentional or what, but the little girl on the photo, the cover, kind of looks like, what was the name of that famous girl who was murdered and been on the cover of every tabloid for like ever?
The one in Denver or somewhere out there in Colorado?
Yeah.
𝘒𝘪𝘥𝘴.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Kind of looks like her. I'm like, that's just sort of wrong. But it says here, Psychic Children is a very helpful and informative book, and understanding children's psychic gifts also includes amazing real-life stories of psychic children from around the world. Read about children's past lives, intuitive children, and stories of startling contact with deceased family members from beyond the grave. There's a great chapter on children and angels. It also includes some of the angelic realm and the ways that they can assist both parents and child. Children are very intuitive and use their psychic senses daily without any effort on their part. Psychic Children also offers great advice for parents on the development, protection, and healing of their little ones and ways in which to strengthen the intuition for both parent and child.
Great.
Sorry.
No, that's wonderful. When I've gone to some of our local bookstores, like maybe through the internet, they're easier to get, but they're not on. They at least of late, I haven't seen many on the shelves or any. So, but
Well,
I'm glad that you.
When you get your book out, you'll have to let us know, and we'll see about
Absolutely.
getting you back on the show sometime in the fall or spring or
that
whenever.
Would be great. Yep. That would
You
be
get it.
wonderful. Thank you.
So
I have a question for Edy.
Okay.
I actually have a follow-up on this topic.
Okay. Go ahead.
Nyla in the chat room asks whether or not in your book are you planning on ways of helping? Are you helping psychic kids cope with their abilities, like you say, with all the privacy issues and such like that?
Well, what I'm doing is I'm helping. The assumption is that these kids have parents who hopefully are on board with what is going on with their child. So what I help the parents do is work with their children in dealing with these fears, so that the child doesn't feel further alienated by what they're dealing with. So I give sample conversations. There are like what I call anxiety scales, and the anxiety scale is really a wonderful behavioral technique to help a child see that they're actually doing better than they think that they're doing, or that they're fighting the anxiety of being alone in the bathroom, being alone in the bathroom. So, for example, I am coaching the parent in helping the child face the fear of being in the bathroom by themselves, and it might start with little incremental steps. So first the child is in the bathroom, the door is open, but the parent is down the hall or in another room. And the next step is that the door closes a little bit and the parent is still in that other room. And so it's slowly the anxiety is dealt with. And if the child feels anxiety, then they stop. The parent coaches them to breathe, because often what happens when any of us are experiencing anxiety, it feels like you can't catch your breath. It feels like sweat's rolling down your back. It feels like your heart is just pounding so fast. And so the parent is given true and tried techniques to talk their child down and to show their child that they can have control over the feelings that overwhelm them.
Now, I've got, I guess we're just getting questions coming in all over from the chat room, because I've got a couple already.
Oh, wow. Great.
This one here is...
Well, hang on. Craig had a question that I stepped on.
Oh, Craig, you got one?
Yeah, this
go ahead,
is from NWV Ghost Hunters. She writes, "Hi, Edy. My biggest struggle is blocking spirits that I don't want to deal with. How would I block them?"
Okay, now understand that I am not a psychic or a medium. However, one of the surefire ways of blocking them is, and you need to be clear about why you're blocking them, but if you really want to block them, then you need to be very strong and say to them, you know what, you're not allowed in this space. And in saying you're not allowed in this space, and it's the same thing with anything that you're afraid of. It's you create a circle of light around you in your mind's eye, and you don't just do it when you're trying to make the spirit dissipate in your or protect yourself from the spirit. What you do is you work on this circle of light on your good days, on your strong days. You do it twice a day, you do it 3 times a day, so that you can call on it in a heartbeat. You can call on it in a minute. And that circle of light, and it's that light can be any color you want it to be. But for you, it represents strength. It represents your ability to create protection around yourself. I live in New York City, and when I go out, I put a circle of protection around myself because there's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of positive as well. But I don't want to pick all of that up. I don't want to pick it up even if I'm not psychic. I think that just being in the world of psychology, I do have a bit of being an empath, and I can pick up angst. And so I put that circle of light around me so that I can just move through. And it serves as a great feeling of protection. And when I get to my destination, I release it, I let it go. I take in a really good deep breath, I let that go. And I take in 3 really good deep breaths so that nothing feels like it's coming down on me or pressing upon me. And I have learned that I can control whatever I allow to come in or go out of me. And once you know that, you're empowered. You're empowered in life, not just in terms of the spirit.
It is just coming right up on break time. And I tell you, we have got tons of questions. So if you have a question, please send it over to Craig, Jeff, or myself, and we'll get them in after the break. But we're going to step away and take a quick break, probably about 5, maybe 6 minutes. Give everybody a chance to run and take a break and get something to drink or whatever you want. And Craig, guess what you get to do? How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Well, go ahead.
You are listening to the Paranormal View on the Para-X Radio Network. We'll be right back.
Don't go away. The Paranormal View will be right back.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Paranormal View right here on the Para-X Radio Network. And no matter where you're listening from, if it's from around the world, feel free to come on over to para-x.com, click on the live chat button at the top of the page, and be in with all these wonderful people. And I want to thank all these people for listening tonight from around the world and for being here in the chat room with us. We have a great guest tonight in Edy Nathan, and the chat room is just jammed full, and we are just getting loaded down with questions from everywhere. So I think what we'll do is we'll just jump right back in and start trying to get some of these asked. I have one here from Jean Marie in the chat room. And she wants to know, how is it that she saw a whole person as a child, but I don't always do it now? Do you have an answer for that or a reason for it?
You know, I wish I did. The question, unfortunately, is a little bit out of my realm. But what I have learned from Chip Coffey and Chris Fleming and 𝘒𝘪𝘥𝘴, who is also a wonderful medium who was on the show a few times, is that children don't have as much of a screen up as adults do, and so they're much more able to see in full that which is for them. And then as adults, unfortunately, we get more and more blocked if those parts of us that were so awake when we were children were not continued to be teased out and held.
Okay. You guys got some questions from the chat room too, or?
Not right now here, actually.
Okay, I got
Actually, I
another.
have a question for Edy. In the 2 years that you've done the show, what is your most rewarding experience as in helping someone, helping a child?
There were so many kids that I know that we helped and that we impacted. There was certainly one of the kids on the show, Bradley. Actually, the show was about having a mother who did not believe and who was really religious. And throughout the days that we worked with them as a family, we saw such a transformation in his mother as she began to become less afraid of that which he experienced and saw. And the two of them started out really at other ends of the spectrum, and when they left, they really had renewed their faith in each other. And he got his mother back, and she got her son back, and that was pretty compelling.
In doing the Psychic Kids, how has that opened you up to the paranormal?
Oh, that's a great question. I've always been involved in Eastern philosophy and different perspectives. I've been trained as a shaman through 𝘒𝘪𝘥𝘴𝘺, who is an amazing shamanic traveler and journeyer, and who has written several books, one of which is Vision Seeker. And I have trained with him and also trained with Brian Weiss and Roger Wilger as past life regressionists. So I've always tried to integrate shamanism and past life regression in my work as a therapist. And so I think that really my work has come full circle as a result of this show, that I've truly been able to integrate more fully my Eastern and Western philosophies in helping people emerge through their own traumas and dilemmas in their lives.
Okay, I have another question here from the chat room from Kat. Wants to know, how does a parent who isn't psychic determine if their child is or is just imaginative?
That's a great question. There are very specific points that you want to try to understand in terms of what your child is seeing. You want to make sure, number one, that your child emotionally is not dealing with abuse of any kind, and you need to really be awake to that. And is your child, physically, emotionally, or sexually abused? Because those might be hallmarks for other issues that could be coming up that makes the child seem like something is going on that is psychic, and it may not be. With that said, and I really need to say that because it's really important to put that out there. With that said, an imaginary friend, when a child begins to talk about what an imaginary friend is, the way that they talk about that friend is very different than the way that than a child will talk about a spirit. The conversation with a spirit is based on my experience with these psychic kids on the show, that they're fuller, they're more alive. They're usually very specific in that the spirit wants to show something, share something, is there for a very specific reason. Whereas an imaginary friend, I'm going to go be with my imaginary friend, and that friend is there kind of like all the time, anytime. And it's not like a spirit can't be, but I think that the way that the child talks about that spirit as opposed to the way the child talks about an imaginary friend is very different in terms of specificity and topic. I'm sure there's more to that answer that I am not covering because it's not my field. I really try to deal with once the child has been designated as psychic, what are the issues that they are facing, and that's really my realm.
I have a question from Kathy in the chat room. Her 2 grandchildren see full apparitions. One is 10 and is fine with it. The younger one is 8 and he's afraid. We have spoken to him about this, but he's still having a problem with being scared. Is there anything we can do to help him?
Absolutely. Number one, you want to ask him what he is afraid of. You might assume what it is based on your world, but in his world, what he's afraid of may be surprising to you. So the first thing with a child always is to be curious. Ask a lot of questions. What about this is the most scary to you? Does it feel afraid? Does it make you feel afraid? And if so, in your language, and you're really trying to find the child's language, because an 8-year-old is not a 10-year-old, and a 10-year-old isn't a 14-year-old, and understand that their language and the way that they talk about things is very, very different. So you want to try to talk to the child, utilizing their language skills and not over-talking them with your adult words. Ask them to draw the spirit. Ask them to talk about what it is that they feel the spirit is trying to tell them. Why do they think the spirit is around them? And if indeed this child, your grandchild, doesn't want to have the spirit around them, and even if you as the grandparent or the parent may want the child to have this experience, if the child doesn't want to have it, you need to really honor where that child is, and then help the child create a circle of protection. Tell the child that you're going to sit with that child and say to that spirit, "You're not allowed to bother me. Go away." as Chip and Chris always say, you're the one that is able to dictate to the spirit when and if they are allowed in your court. And if you don't want that spirit around, then you need to tell them to go away. You need to say, "Go away." And as parents or grandparents or support systems, you need to help your child create a boundary to say, "Go away." And maybe all of you need to go into the bedroom or wherever that spirit is present and say, "Go away. You're not allowed in here. Go away. I don't have room for you. Go away." So it's again, you really need to honor where that child is, and every child is different. And if that 8-year-old isn't ready or doesn't want it, that needs to be honored.
Now, what do you do if some of the kids say that they don't want this? They don't want to be a psychic.
It's such a great question, and it's difficult to answer because we can certainly cut it off, and we can again say, okay, whenever anything comes up, just say no. You're not allowed in, and I don't want to feel you. But a lot of times, kids don't. If a kid says I don't want to be psychic, it's usually born out of the fact that they're afraid, and if they're afraid, then it's really good to try to focus in on why they're afraid and what they're afraid of, and are they getting information that's coming in really, really fast? Well, if that's the case, then how do they break that information down? So the first question and the most important question is, why don't you want it, and what is so scary about it to you? Why do you feel so afraid? Now, they may feel afraid because they're also dealing with some of the psychological issues. They may be having attention problems. They might be having social issues. They might be, having some avoidant behaviors that they know about, and they attribute it to, their psychic abilities. They may feel that it creates a dissension in the family, and that may be another reason why they don't want it. They may feel alienated. So if you can try to figure out why they don't want it, don't push it on them, but as a discussion, it may get, you may become more clear and help them to become more clear why they don't want it. Certainly the adults that I speak to that said, I pushed it down and I pushed it down because I didn't want it and I pushed it down, and I had no one to go to. A lot of times what they are dealing with as adults are issues of anxiety and issues of depression because it was something that was squelched. So it's about finding that balance between honoring the child, but perhaps finding a way for them to have a place to honor maybe what they're experiencing. I also want to backtrack just a moment, because something in terms of the 10-year-old and the 8-year-old, and someone on the message board suggested something that really made a lot of sense, which was from Nyla, who said, have the 10-year-old tell the spirits to leave the younger kid alone. And that's beautiful. Well, that's just a beautiful, beautiful synergy to have the 10-year-old help the 8-year-old. If the 10-year-old wants it and is willing to help, that's just, it's a beautiful dance that can happen between siblings, and may then enable the 8-year-old to feel like they're not alone.
A couple of quick things in here. Right after our show, stay tuned for Joe and Tara on Visions Radio. Tonight they have Deborah Pickman with her husband Tony, who lived in the Sally house through the Extreme Hauntings, which was featured years ago on Sightings. So stay tuned for that. That should be a great show. Also coming up in just a little bit, we're going to have Patty Lynham join us, because Craig is going to be leaving, and we'll be doing the Spotlight Report right after next break, and we will be, from what I understand, giving a book away. So stay tuned for that. Anyone who is not a show host is eligible to try and win the book, and we'll explain that to you once we get ready to have the drawing. So some good things coming up, and you guys got some more questions here? Anything from the chat, or you guys got some, or you want me to go ahead and read some more?
I just before I leave. Before I leave, we talked about this before the show. Edy, what was your impressions of the Lannon House in Durwood, Maryland? I love it. I love that place.
Yes, we did. We talked about it before the show, and it is a very, very powerful place. It's a little freaky, I have to tell you. So much so that we were going to stay there, and we didn't. It's got a lot going on there, and the basement has so much energy that it just it moved us all to realizing that none of us wanted to walk in that basement alone, nor in that house, kind of alone. So we all walked in pairs.
So what was some of the activity that's supposed to be going on there?
I probably, Craig, you could probably answer that better than I, because I was really trying to tend to the kids who were afraid. So all I can tell you is that there's a lot of, it was a home, it was a place that housed many, from what I understand, many soldiers, and there was a lot of blood, and a lot of heartache, and a lot of death.
I believe it was Stonewall Jackson. I may have that wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was him. Had his famous Sabres and Roses ball there.
Yes.
In the grand ballroom there, and his spirit has actually been seen there.
So, there you go. What was your experience when you went there?
We got a few EVPs. The weird thing was that a couple of us saw blue floating lights while we were outside in the windows. Yeah, in the ballroom.
What did you think that was about?
We still don't know. That was the last time we were there. We haven't been back. We tried to recreate everything. We went in the basement, shine flashlights up through. We don't know.
Interesting.
I'm looking forward to getting back there, though.
Yeah, well, I would love to hear if you do go back there. Please let me know what happens.
Sure, I'd love to.
I'm going to go ahead and call in Patty now, so she'll be coming on with us, and then we'll get right back into the questions. Yes, it's almost time. You said you had to go at 9, right?
Yes, I have to get going.
We're sorry that you have to go, but we understand also at the same time. So we got Patty with us now.
Hey, Patty. Patty.
Maybe she hasn't hit the answer button yet.
Patty.
Apparently not.
Nope, she fell off.
Okay, here, I'll call again, see if she picks up now.
So, Craig, this isn't your wedding, right?
No. Let's get that straight. No. I'm actually
your wedding. You happen to go.
It's good friends of mine, Roger and Erica 𝘒𝘪𝘥𝘴, and we're actually in Salem, Massachusetts, and we're staying in a haunted bed and breakfast, and we've already had a lot of activity. And this town is
being officiated by Lori Cabot?
I don't know. Yeah, it's the first time I've ever been here. I love this little city. So.
Where in Massachusetts are you?
Salem.
Oh, Salem.
Yeah. I've always wanted to come here, and we're having a good time. It's been nonstop.
Well, Patty, we got you on now.
Yes, I'm here.
Well, great.
Hey, there you are, Patty.
Yeah. Hi, gang.
Welcome.
And you have Edy on with us.
Yes. Hi, Edy. Nice to talk to you and meet you and hear all about you.
Same here, Patty. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good.
So welcome.
Watch her, Edy. She's bad.
Okay. Thanks for the warning. I needed a heads up.
Now, with these kids, does any of them ever have like a sixth sense?
Well, can you define sixth sense?
Well, like in the movie, I see dead people.
Well, yes. Every child that we worked with had some form of that sixth sense, and I don't know that a sixth sense necessarily means dead people, but certainly we had a multitude of kids who could pick up or would see spirits, dead people. We can call them the DPs. Suzanne Northrop calls them the DPs, the dead people. And yes, but again, perhaps they didn't necessarily see them in body. Maybe they saw parts, or maybe they felt them, or maybe they heard them. Every one of these kids, perceived in a different way. So, Some talked about I hear them. Some talked about, well, I see shadows. Some I feel them in a room. Now that's not seeing; it's a kinesthetic experience. And what happens when you feel them in the room? Well, I get cold and my heart starts to pound, and I feel that they're saying something, or I can hear them, but it's not like I'm hearing them auditorily. I'm hearing them through a feeling. Makes sense?
It is just about 9 o'clock, and I guess Craig is going to be leaving us here in just a minute. Craig,
Hi,
you got
Craig.
any last things that you want
Actually,
to throw out and say?
Craig seems to have left the room.
Who did?
I'm looking at the Skype and I realize there are just three of us. I'm like, I think Craig has departed without a goodbye.
Oh, he already left. Boy,
He's still in chat, but
he just snuck right out on us, didn't he? All right. Well, I think what we'll go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and take another break, and right after the break, we're going to play the Spotlight Report, and after that, I believe you've got a book that you're going to give away. So don't
I
give.
have 3 books.
Are you going to give them all away tonight, or one this week, one next week? How'd you want to do it?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I prefer to give them all away.
Okay.
Because and that would promote. But I
It's not
just
like they're cluttering up your place, is it?
yeah. Well, yeah. I'm moving. But also I prefer if the hosts don't.
Well, they already know that they're not qualified
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So everybody in the chat and that's listening on air, you can email me, and I want you to remember this, at Paranormal View.
The Paranormal
The
View
Paranormal View
fans.
at gmail.com.
Right.
So that's the Paranormal View fans at gmail.com. And the first person that answers me, the first 3 people, I will give them a free book.
But they have to answer it correctly, and
Right.
we'll throw that question out after we come back from break. How does that sound? Don't that sound?
Well, instead of throwing the answer out, you can actually give it to people. Oh, wait.
Yeah. They have to work for it.
Yeah, they do. So pay close attention to the part 2 with London Night.
So guess what Jeff gets to do?
Take us out.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Well, we'll be right back after this little musical interlude. You're listening to the Paranormal View at para-x.com with tonight's guest, Edy Nathan of A&E Psychic Kids, which you should make sure to watch before it's gone and or only available on DVD and stuff.
Very good. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Paranormal View right here on the Para-X Radio Network. Now,
Love it.
we have you have a couple books, I should say, and the books are from who? Who wrote the books?
London Night.
London
She
Night.
wrote these books, yep. The interview that I just had, yes. And whoever the first 3 people, or the first person that can answer.
Your sound is low.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. The first person, that emails me with an answer, I'm going to ask a couple questions, and
Well, just ask one and do that one first.
okay, one. All right.
Yeah.
And email me at the Paranormal View fans at gmail.com. And the first question is, how many family members in the DeFeo family were murdered?
Good question. If you know the answer to that question, then send an email to the Paranormal View fans at gmail.com, and the first one to get it right will win this book. What is the name of the book? That's not one of your questions, is it?
No, that's no.
Yes, the title of the book.
She's already has one out, and she's doing another one about the American Hauntings. Most American Hauntings in the U.S., so in America.
Is it night as in not day or night as in Sir Lancelot?
It's London, K-N-I-G-H-T.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will announce the winners closer to the end of the...
Let us know the first winner that you have. You have other questions for the other 2 books also, or you're just taking the first 3 people that gets that question right?
Yeah, the first 3 people that gets that right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you want to ask that question once again? So.
Sure. How many people did Ronnie DeFeo kill and his family? How many murder victims were there in the family?
Okay. All right. With that, we want to get back to Edy until we get a winner with that. And as soon as you get winners, you can let us know and we'll announce them.
Sure will.
Now, if you got questions, you can also chime in anytime. And if you got questions from the chat room, private chat them to Patty, Jeff, or myself, and we'll get them right over to Edy. And if you're not with us, but you're listening from somewhere around the world, please come over, para-x.com, click on the live chat button at the top of the page, and you'll be in with all these wonderful people. So, with that, Jeff, you got any thing come in from the chat room or anything, or you got just regular questions?
No real questions in here. I'm just trying to think. I was also, of course, trying to look for the titles. I'm not coming across London Night is the name of the author?
Patty?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. She's the author. Yes. Yep.
I mean, she may not have any books on Amazon, apparently, unless it's...
No, she doesn't have them on Amazon. She has...
it's published?
Yeah, let me see. I have where it is. Just give me a minute here.
Now that I know
it's called the America's Most Proclaimed Haunted Places, and it's on online publishing company, and they can get all that information if they go to onlinepublishing.com.
Okay.
And the name of the book is America's Most Proclaimed Haunted Places, and I'm sorry I didn't have that correct before.
Okay. Let's see here. Edy, are there different degrees of psychic ability?
From what I have observed, I would say absolutely. And it varies. It's a wide, huge spectrum. I mean, there are people who have one experience their whole lives, and that doesn't mean they weren't psychic in that moment, and then that's it. And then there are other people who experience psychic phenomena every single day of their lives. So I think but let me also say that I really believe that we all have the ability to be psychic and to welcome in psychic abilities through our own practice and enlightenment. If you do simple exercises every day where you really sit and try to perceive things that are going on around you, there are, and I'm really not the person to teach this, but there are, this is a skill set that I think can certainly be enhanced.
Now, already did that one. I know you said, and Craig read it also, that in your studies, it introduced you to many points about the afterlife, which are tempered by your academic teachings. What are your beliefs in the afterlife then?
Okay, well, the afterlife is certainly an interesting, especially now, it's a really interesting conversation that we can be having about the afterlife. Being a trained past life regressionist and having worked with Brian Weiss, he was one of my major teachers, and he really and has taught and continues to teach the belief that we all carry within us our past lives. It's kind of like in our bodies, in our memory banks. And though not everybody may believe in the fact that we've been here before, if you do, the obstacle that you currently deal with today may be because of something that was not yet dealt with from a past life, maybe a residue from a past life. I once worked with a woman for 1 year on one life, one past life, and she had been a pirate, and we went from that pirate's birth to his death. And every week we worked on a little bit of that life using a hypnotic trance to get her into that life, and we dealt with a lot of the issues from that life. And after 1 year of working so intently on this life, her life here completely turned around. She left the marriage that she was in. She found a much happier, contented life. She changed jobs. I mean, everything that could change did. And those changes occurred as a result of what she learned from that past life and what she dealt with from that past life. And there are so many stories that I could tell about people who I have worked with, and the volumes of books that Brian Weiss has written about people who have gone through their past lives, recognized an obstacle or a fear that they face today, and when they go through it in that past life, it kind of comes out in this life through that hypnotic trance, and as it gets relived, and through the reliving, it then gets resolved. And it is about learning how to resolve the issues from the past life that help us then resolve the issues in this life. So it's what I do as a therapist, and not everybody who comes in to see me even knows that I do regression work. And sometimes the regression work isn't a past life regression. Sometimes it's a regression just to the uterus and being a child in that uterus and the whole birthing process. Because sometimes trauma occurs in that birthing process that affects us in this life, where we feel like we can't breathe, or we feel like we are choked in some way from moving ahead, or it's a literal choking where we feel that we can't catch a breath. And it is really a residue from that birth trauma. Taking that Eastern perspective and Eastern way of thinking, past life, shamanism, that we are a collective unconscious, and that we carry a collective within us, is amazing. Is an amazing piece of work, especially when it then is aligned with a Western way of thinking, which is okay. So there are obstacles that get in our way. Sometimes it's anxiety. Sometimes it's depression. Sometimes it's obsessive-compulsive disorder. Sometimes it's grief. And how do these obstacles get in the way of us living our lives to the fullest that we possibly can? So when I integrate my knowledge of working through all of these issues that we deal with here, and then the issues from a past life, or from a collective unconscious perspective, which means that we carry the collective grief, perhaps, as an example of something from the past, from a trauma that occurred 100 years ago, but we carry it in ourselves as cellular memory. How do we then deal with that? And that cellular memory comes out in an issue like obsessive compulsive disorder, or a depression, or a feeling of overwhelming grief, or a sense that we are choking, if you will. And I really combine the knowledge of those two arenas, and then combine behavioral therapy and hypnosis and something called EMDR and shamanism to help people really traverse the emotional and psychic obstacles, and help them to feel much freer and more open in their lives.
Now, I got a question as far as how do you first find out that someone has a past life? I mean, just do they just come and say, "I want to see"?
I want to do a past life. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, someone can come in and say, "I want to do a past life," and I never do a past life the first time I meet someone. I always wait until the second session, because you never want to do a past life, for me anyway, upon just meeting someone. I want to have a sense of who they are. I want them to have a sense of me. And usually there is a desire. There is some sense from them that they want to experience, and they believe that they can experience something that is not of this life. With that said, sometimes there are people who come in and want to do a past life, and we don't get to that past life. What we do is we get to a trauma of this life that they forgot about, and that is just as important and just as valid as that past life. And sometimes the issues of this life need to be dealt with before a past life even comes up, because the issues of this life are so traumatic. But if a person comes in, says, "I want to do a past life," and if we indeed decide to go that route, there are a couple different ways that a past life regression even occurs. Each way is a form of hypnosis. One is a more formal way of hypnosis, and one is a way of getting into the past life through a repetitive commentary that is made by the person who is going into that trance. And the repetition creates the trance, and then they just go deeper and deeper, and images then begin to occur. And it's not only compelling but intense and powerful. And then I lead them through. I don't assume that whatever I might perceive does not really matter. I am merely a witness, I am a viewer, and I am a guide. And I take them through whatever it is they're seeing without giving them information. We make it as I try to be as uninvolved in terms of what I am giving them. So all of the information comes from you, not from me. I merely help to clarify and to guide you through it, so that then when you come out, at no time can you say, "Well, you told me that I saw a castle with a green flag." You're the one who saw the castle. You saw the green flag. You felt yourself in the dungeon. You felt yourself in the dark. You felt the turmoil of your death. And that's, to me, what a true past life experience is.
I'm not so sure that I would want to know that I was a gunfighter or something like that back in the West.
Why not?
You're afraid you were a very brief gunfighter?
Yeah, probably.
Listen, as long as you don't bring a knife to a gunfight, you'll be fine.
Well, Patty, have you come up with any winners yet? Or are you still waiting?
Yeah.
I did.
Yes. Jeffrey did. You want to tell him?
Yeah, sorry. Actually, yes. I didn't know if you wanted to announce this way or wait till later, but...
Well, now, are you going to try and give 3 books away? Have you got 3 winners, or...
Well, we've only got one person answering that one question so far.
Okay, you want to give that one away and then ask another question?
So far, the answer given was 6 family members murdered. Is that correct or incorrect?
Yes.
Okay,
Actually, there were 5, but they found there were 6 people. So yes, that's the correct answer. So Yoga Girl won.
Yay.
Okay.
Yes, she did.
What she'll have to do is send us your email or your address, mailing address,
Right.
name, location, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And Patty will mail the book out to you. What is
Yeah.
the name of the book?
The name of the book is the most proclaimed America's Most Proclaimed Haunted Places by
Okay.
London Knight.
All right. There you go.
Yeah. So congratulations, Yoga Girl.
Congratulations. Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Now, if you want to give another book away, have you got another question?
Yes, if they could tell me the city and the state where the murders took place.
There you go. And you can send that to The Paranormal View at Gmail. I'm sorry, The Paranormal View Fans at gmail.com.
Yes.
Now, getting back, I do have another question here from the chat room. And it says, it's from Ceiling Cat. Have you ever had a child so traumatized by spirits to the point that they need to shut down completely to function?
I personally have never met a child that needed to cut down completely, shut down completely as a result of being so overwhelmed. And as a therapist, I would be concerned that there were other things that were going on within the family. Because sometimes when there's tremendous trauma in the family, and then there are also spirits, everything gets magnified. So my answer is no, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't occur. And no matter what, the child needs to be held and heard, and the spirits need to be talked to, and professionals, mediums who deal with this might be called upon to really help that child cope with how much they are shutting down. What I have found, however, is that there are kids who become so overwhelmed that they cut themselves and they get into cutting, and they sometimes act out in ways that are really not healthy, and it's their way of shutting out the noise and the chaos from the spirits. And that's one of the things that I also talk about in my book.
Good. When you have your book come out and let us know and we get you on again, I think it might be interesting also to talk some more about that past life regression stuff. A lot of people in the chat room here thought that was really interesting, so we can delve into that more.
Absolutely, I'd be more than happy to talk more about that.
Okay. I have a couple questions, if you don't mind.
No,
I was just curious if you could tell us, because I don't think you did, on the is it Gestalt Center and the Jungian?
The Gestalt Center and the Jungian Center.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't pronounce it.
No, that's okay. You know what? They don't spell it so that we know how to pronounce it. So.
Okay. Then I don't feel bad, I guess.
What would you like to know?
Just what are they, and what what do they do there and everything? Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so there are two different kind of ways of being a therapist. The Gestalt perspective is a very here and now perspective, and it uses a lot of role play and interactive. It's a very kind of interactive therapy, and it helps the client and the therapist find ways to project what is going on inside the client onto and out of themselves. So into a chair, there's what are called a lot of chair exercises. So Gestalt is a very here and now, very present kind of therapy. And what's kind of cool about it is that it can be used with a lot of other, therapies. Jungian therapy is also, you've heard me refer to the collective unconscious, and Carl Jung developed this Jungian analysis, and he was an amazing man. He was probably one of the first psychotherapists who looked into mysticism and Gnosticism, and he talked about what are called archetypes, and he really believed in the mystical, and so his work really helps people to look at this collective unconscious, and what I mean by that is the collective of the world, like the pain of the world, or the collective of a war, or the collective of passion, and how that collective affects us, in present day. And the archetypes are like the mother archetype, the father archetypes. They are major people or symbols in our lives. The archetype of death, the archetype of the joker, the archetype of the trickster. So that, like, the trickster is something that comes into our lives, and they look one way, but they're really something else. And the archetype of the mother is someone who feels very caring to us. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that it's our mother, but it's someone who comes in and feels they are very mother-like. Or if we are missing that in our lives, how we might be able to pull that energy in. So the Jungians really believe and look to mysticism and symbol and metaphor and story and drawing and art as a way of looking at the totality of the psyche.
Well, thank you very much. I was really curious about that. Thank you.
So,
sounds like a wonderful place.
Oh, the Jungians are amazing, and it is such a wonderful mix of bringing in the Jungian and the Gestalt perspective with the Eastern and Western philosophies of therapy and reaching out to help people, and really trying to find a balance between the psyche and the psychic realm.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much for answering. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
So it always helps in the paranormal community to be Jung at heart, I guess.
Oh, that was good.
Jeff comes up with that all the time.
I think Carl Jung would have really appreciated that. Oh, that's great.
Now,
that's really good.
Getting to you,
Yeah.
do you go on, or have you been on paranormal investigations?
Well, I couldn't be part of Psychic Kids if I didn't go on paranormal investigations. So my answer is yes. Had I gone on paranormal investigations before that, not really. I mean, I've certainly stayed in houses that had a lot of spirit activity. I'm really pretty clear, though, for the most part, that when I walk into a place, if I don't want to be bothered by something, that I put up my boundary and I say I don't want to be bothered, and I am left alone. That's not to say that things do not come through to me. I had surgery, and my mom passed away about 11 years ago, and I had surgery about 3 years ago, and had gotten really good results from the biopsies and everything from this surgery. And my name is spelled pretty unusually, Edy. And my husband and I were driving along after having gotten this great news, and the license plate in front of me, to the right of me, and behind me said Edy, 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 Edy. So if I, whatever needs to come through, I feel does. And even in telling the story, even though I've told that story before, I still get chills. And it was my mom. I have no doubt that that was my mom coming through saying, I'm so happy everything was fine. Edy, 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 on an expressway in the middle of nowhere.
Now, did you just kind of like sense that, or did you actually audibly hear that?
No, it was on the license plate.
Oh.
In front of me and on the side and and behind us.
You
so
sure it wasn't
that I
being...
sensed it? I didn't. It was just 3 separate cars.
Had
one
the same
car was
thing.
in front of us, one car was to the right, and one car was behind us, and they all spelled my name.
Wow.
Wow.
That would be pretty interesting.
Of spirit. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, now when you go to these investigations, usually you're with the kids, but the kids are mostly doing the psychic. Do you ever use any kind of equipment such as a recorder or a K2 meter or anything like that?
I don't, but certainly Chris Fleming uses a lot of equipment, and that was so amazing to be part of that. And I so highly recommend, if anybody is interested in looking into that equipment, contact Chris Fleming. Or, I'm sure you guys know people as well. But the equipment is, what I think it does is it really consolidates any doubts. It's like, it's like saying, you know what, if you have a doubt, like, listen to this. If you have a doubt, look at what these meters are doing. And it's really cool to see them, not only that, but it's like it really helps to prove, as much as anyone can, that the energy exists and that there is so much more out there, and then there's so much more than meets the eye. So
stay tuned tonight, right after our show, for 𝘒𝘪𝘥𝘴 on Visions Radio. Great show, and they got some great guests coming in. So stay tuned for that right after our show. Also, do we have winners yet for the next book giveaway?
Yes, we do. The second winner is Miss Kate, and the answer was, the question was, where did the murders take place, what city and what state? And she answered it, Amityville, New York. So, Ms. Kate, you are a winner. Thank you.
Great. Now you got one. You got one more to give away, right? I was going to say,
okay. Are these 3 different title books or 3 copies of the same book?
3 of the same book, yeah.
Okay. Just make
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So, did you want to try and give the other one away tonight?
If nobody's, if there isn't any more emails sent, then I think I will wait.
Okay. We'll just wait. Okay. And we'll give the next one, or the last one, away next week. How does that sound?
What, were there some?
Well, I was going to say that there were actually 2 people guessing. Miss Kate.
Were they both right?
Yes. The other was, who was it? Katie Newton. K-D-Y Newton.
Oh, okay. Then she is the winner of the 3rd book.
Oh, there you go. Yay.
All right.
Okay,
there you
go. Great, cool. Katie.
Okay,
all right.
Yeah.
Our winner, too.
Just make sure you send your mailing addresses and everything to the Paranormal View fans at gmail.com, and we'll get those right out to you just as soon as we get all that information.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, if you talk real nice, she might hand deliver them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd love to. I want to get out of Minnesota. It snows. still.
I do have another question from the chat room, and we still have a few minutes left. So if you've got questions, please hurry up and send them over to myself, Patty, or Jeff, and we will get them right into Edy. So appreciate all the questions that's come in tonight. This is from Ceiling Cat again, and she wants to know that past life regression, has she been able to get information to validate the past life? And do you and the client work to validate the session for accuracy?
No, I don't. And often the client doesn't. Sometimes the accuracy, what the client gets in terms of the past life, may not be, may not have enough information so that it's verifiable. Not everyone who has a past life experience gets a name, gets a date. Sometimes they just get fragments. They might see a sword, or they might feel themselves in a dungeon, and sometimes that information is enough. Whatever that information is, it's enough to help them deal with something about this life today. Sometimes there's so much information that it certainly could be verified, and if the client so chooses to verify it, they can. The woman with the story of the pirate, she was certainly able to verify that, and that was certainly compelling. Oftentimes when people do a past life, they may get fragments of a couple of different lives, and it switches between a couple of different lives, and it can be very, very fast. So I don't know that it's important if it's verifiable or not. And because when there's information that is gathered and that information helps in this life, that's the point. That's the goal. It doesn't, because oftentimes you can't prove a benign life, a life that was lived 100 years ago or 200 years ago. There might not be documents. But if whatever was perceived, picked up, seen, felt, tasted from that past life helps to overcome an obstacle or emotional difficulties in this life, then that's the goal. And any more information in terms of verifying is to me not as important as reaching the goal of emotional relief.
Great. Now, given you being around all these paranormal investigators and Chip Coffey and all the other I'll say great people like this, would you go on an investigation and use equipment?
I would probably go, if I were to go on an investigation, not being, psychic, I would prefer to go on an investigation using equipment. That would be my preference, because I don't walk with an open pathway to being a psychic or a medium. So to me, it's really a verifiable means of gathering information, because I don't have as much access to those psychic abilities. Not that I couldn't, because I believe that anyone who's listening tonight has the ability to be psychic and to open those pathways. And it takes practice, and it takes a willingness to open up those pathways. But any of us can do it. So yes, I definitely would. I love using the equipment. I think it's really cool, and so much information comes through, and it's just wild.
Well, did you ever see him catch an EVP?
Yes, again, working on the show with Chris Fleming, we got so many EVPs, and it was just startling. And when we were in Lizzie Borden's house, the EVPs that we were getting, I mean, we could have stayed there all night for the amount of EVPs that we were getting. It was awesome and terrifying, and brought up a lot of questions about what really happened in Lizzie Borden's house.
So they weren't just doing a hatchet job on that.
Oh, way to go, Jeffrey.
That was.
What do you feel that like one of the best EVPs that had been caught while you were there?
I would have to say it was at the Lizzie Borden house. That was it was just amazing. We were there was just such activity, and we were running up and down through the house, and we were getting EVPs, and the EVP machine was off, and then we were getting EVPs when it was off, and then it turned on, and it was a bizarre night. It was just and it was scary. I mean, I'm even talking about it now, and it was over a year ago. I still get chills.
Well, now,
I haven't heard that of anyone actually getting EVPs at that place, which is interesting because I've heard of people occasionally checking it out, but I haven't heard of any EVPs there.
Yeah, well, we were certainly, unfortunately, when you shoot a show, and I don't know if your audience knows this, but when you shoot a show, you shoot for days and days and days, and you get so many hours of film, but it's cut down to 44 minutes. So, and that's all that's on TV is 44 minutes.
And they make it, and they imply it's only one night. They don't right. Indicate that it's over.
Well,
the course.
You know what? It was only one night. I mean, we were only at the Lizzie Borden house for one night, but out of that one night, you might have gotten 2 minutes or 3 minutes because we were on so many different locations, but we were there for hours and hours and hours. We were there for, I don't know, 3-4 hours, however long. So, yeah.
So, what can you say? What one of the EVPs was that you got there?
Oh man, I wish. Well, I don't exactly recall, but it was something like Lizzie didn't do it.
Now that would be spooky.
Yeah. It wasn't Lizzie.
That's something like that. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yes.
So as the young people today would say, it was whack. Oh wait.
Oh no. Yeah, 40 times.
40 times.
Oh. Yes, and yes, there was a poem. There was a poem, and
we all.
Yeah, so
Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her father 40 whacks, and when she saw what she had done, she gave her mother 41, or I think
something like that. Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah,
yep.
That was it.
It's an old jump rope song. It's a jump rope song, really.
Yep. Yeah, it is. I used to
actually,
jump rope.
Edy, I don't know if Edy, there was you've heard of Ed Gein, right? Ed Gein, he was the killer or possible killer. He was a necrophiliac and such that Norman Bates and Texas Chainsaw Massacre were all based on.
Okay.
There was a book about him written by the trial judge in his case, and he dedicated an entire chapter about macabre humor after a tragic event.
Oh, no, that's
because there were a lot of really bizarre, twisted jokes regarding Ed Gein because he was suspected of cannibalism, and he certainly was a grave robber. In fact, Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs is also based on him.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
So yeah, the jump rope song of Lizzie Borden is along those lines. It was something.
Yeah.
It's the way people deal with something so horrific especially in such a mild town as it was at that time, for that kind of murder to take place was just unthinkable.
Yeah, London Knight actually. Oh, I'm sorry. She also has that part about Ed Gein in there, and she did send me some crime scene photos from the original crime scene photos that she has from the Amityville home. So if anybody does want them, they can email me, and I can email them to them. But she also has Ed Gein and someone else, but she couldn't send those because her laptop is broken. So. But she wrote about that too. So yeah, Jeff. He used to make like you would get like ceramic ashtrays or vases and all that. He used to make it out of human skin. He was quite
And
artistic.
The lampshades, yeah.
Yeah, he was quite artistic, I guess. Yeah.
Actually, the closest movie that got it almost right was with Stephen Railsback, simply called Ed Gein, I think it was called. They did make a movie called Deranged, or I think that's the name of the book that I read, which was pretty close as well.
That's so interesting, and you're right. It poetry, poems after something fatal, and the poem having to do, or the story having to do that that has some humor alongside it, having to do with the trauma, is the way that people deal with it. And even people in a community, especially 100 years ago, and 150 years ago, kids used to be given little tiny caskets, and that's what they would put their dolls into, because they would lose brothers and sisters, siblings so easily, so readily, and it was the way of helping kids to learn to cope with death. So they would put their dolls into these little caskets.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they were like their little carriages, if you will. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I was actually never aware of that. That sounds wonderfully creepy.
Wonderfully creepy.
Yeah.
Well,
actually, London Knight does have a couple in her home, and one she just got, and it's very haunted. She's having some problems with this little girl, I guess. So.
Little doll.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a real casket.
The time has just run right on by, and I want to take a few minutes to be able to give Edy a chance to, if there's anything you'd like to say, any questions or anything like that. I'll give you a minute for that, and you can give out all your contact info that you might have, websites and everything else.
Sure.
And we can do that, and then I'll have Jeff fill in all of our other website addresses and everything.
Okay, that sounds great. So I want to thank you all. This was so much fun. The 2 hours just flew by, as you said they would. And it was just lovely meeting all of you and meeting your voices. And I just want to thank the audience for your questions. And just the best advice I can give you guys is just to keep asking questions and be open to whatever comes through. And if you're afraid, you can say go away, and you can create your own boundaries. And someone was talking about having stones, like crystals. Crystals are wonderful, powerful things that you can hold to protect and to bring in good energy. So, be aware of that. I'm going to also be doing an event in Atlanta called Through the Veil, and please look into it, www.throughtheveil.com. And Chip Coffey's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Christopher Fleming's going to be there, and it is June 10th, 11th, and 12th, and it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful weekend filled with Chip and a panel of the three of us talking about psychic kids and past life regressionists, and the author of the Celestine Prophecy is going to be there. So it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful weekend event, and I would love to see you guys there. And anybody who comes, please come and say hello to me, and would love to talk with you. My you can also reach me through my website, which is 𝘗𝘴𝘺𝘥𝘴.com, www.edynathan.com, and I'm also on Facebook, so please friend me. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And thank you so much. This was a blast. I had so much fun.
Now I want you to stay on till after we get off, and we'll talk with you for a few minutes off the air. So,
well, thank you, Edy. It was a pleasure having you.
Oh,
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you
Jeff,
so much.
You got 2 minutes or 1 minute to give your all the site addresses.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we definitely have Paranormal View on Facebook, which is exactly that. If you just go to Facebook and on the top just type in Paranormal View, because it comes up with a really weird little thingy, with all the numbers that takes too long to say. But if you go to my website, 𝘗𝘴𝘺𝘥𝘴.net, GEFF2011.net/2011PNV.htm, as in 2011 Paranormal View. So 2011PNV.htm, and that'll bring up a page embedding all of the shows we've done up through since January, and links to the report pages that I do up per respective show. And Edy, I'll send you a link to when I have this report page up. I may have to add to it because I was dashing around doing the questions and answers. So occasionally topics you were talking about, I'm like, yeah, I'm listening. But I was talking something else. But yeah, so that, and it'll be embedded on that page as well. And I'll be promoting the books and the sites that you mentioned, Through the Veil and such like that. And nice picture of you on your site.
And I want to remind everybody, stay tuned for Joe and Tara on Visions Radio. Also, next week, we have the lovely Marla Brooks on our show. And no telling what all we'll be talking about with her.
Oh, wonderful.
Talking about Beltane.
So with that,
Beltane, one of the
we're going to jump off because Joe and Tara is fixing to take over. So I do want to thank everybody for listening tonight, no matter where you are at from around the world. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the questions. Love each and every one of you. Until next week, this is Henry Foister.
This is Pat Lynham.
Good shot. We will see you next week at the same time. So we will sign off then. So good night, everybody.
Night, everybody, and night, everybody in chat.
Night.
We're leaving.